Hi ladies, this is Monique with Boundaries for Women, here to remind you that you're worthy of love and respect. And I'm not on video today because this is something I wanted to talk about and I didn't want to wait till I had makeup on to do it. But I wanted to address the Ravi Zacharias scandal. If you're not familiar with Ravi Zacharias, he was a Christian leader, renowned Christian leader, and he died, I think, in the last year. And he had massive amounts of allegations of sexual misconduct coming out previous to his death, and then now especially since his death. And he is somebody that I remember reading his books a couple decades at least ago. I was really touched by his writings. His early writings reminded me a bit of C.S. Lewis. But of course, his ministry grew and grew and grew and grew, and it was this massive ministry. And he ended up doing a lot of things. Like I said, I'm not going to go too into the details of it because there's plenty of info on it online. And it's not so much to even address just his situation and what happened with him, but the fact that this kind of stuff happens within the church and it happens within spiritual settings, and how dangerous it is to anybody, children, women, young men, but it often affects vulnerable people, children and women. So one of the things that I want to talk about in terms of what went on with this guy is the fact that because of his position of authority in an organization or as a spiritual leader, let's put it that way, the ability to manipulate and control people to basically not come forward with what was going on until way down the line. And one of the main reasons that people don't come forward and the reasons that people don't say anything is because when someone's been abused by a sociopath, which I would class this, or a predator, which I would class the Ravi Zacharias story, because that person has such incredible influence and because they're so renowned and people look on them with just awe, there's often a huge fear that nobody's going to believe that the person that's coming forth with the allegations or coming forth to say, this is what happened, because it's one lone voice up against that person that has massive influence, massive power within their context. And secondly, fear that nobody will believe them, but then also fear of repercussions. Like, for example, if there's some parts of the Ravi Zacharias story where someone that was a massage therapist, who he basically coerced into further things than just getting a massage, he basically manipulated that person by saying something like basically scaring them into not telling anyone because of how it would affect millions of people's spiritual lives and souls. And the fact that he was able to pull that off and not even feel a flicker of guilt, a flicker of conviction himself at what he was doing and how that would affect many, many, many lives. And this is one of the biggest things of dealing with sociopaths, narcissists, psychopaths, predators, is the way they are able to abuse, but then make the person they're abusing feel like they're the ones that are doing something wrong. This is one of the top asterisks to me of abusers, because they're so good at making that person doubt themselves or afraid to say something. They keep people from speaking out because there was a fear, if you try to say anything, they're just going to keep making your life more miserable. And so people end up staying quiet. So I just want to encourage you that if you don't know about narcissistic abuse, if you don't know about sociopaths, if you don't know about psychopaths and predators, and you're someone who is in the church, you're a Christian, you're a believer, or even if you're not, but I'm just talking in the context of the church here, educate yourself. And whenever a topic comes up around this in any setting, in any Christian setting, please make sure that you tell people what these things are. Please don't let a conversation go by where people don't know, or they leave a conversation still not knowing what a psychopath is like or what a narcissist is like. And a lot of times people think narcissists are these people that are really loud and really flashy and really, obnoxious and overt. What they don't realize is that a lot of times malignant narcissists and psychopaths, sociopaths, they are not that. They are so charming and they're so good at convincing people that they are just such wonderful people. And those are the most shocking stories that always come out, are the ones that are about people who no one would have thought that that person had done this or that behind the scenes. And that to me is the biggest part of dealing with these kinds of people, that is so draining and so challenging, and frustrating doesn't come close. It's crazy making sometimes, because the people who are trying to say, look, this is going on, or this person's doing this, and then they're confronted with, especially Christians who tend to want to see the best in people and don't want to believe things that they're hearing that aren't good about people, because you know what I'm talking about. They're often just so naive that they can't see it. And so if you were to dare to point something out, this doesn't even have to be some leader in a church setting. This can just be anybody. And one of the worst things that someone who's dealing with a toxic individual like that can come up against within the church is not only when people don't believe them, or when they kind of are like, no, I don't know, but is when they're like, well, we all have our flaws. We all have our, it's almost like some sociopath, they just have some bad sides, like we all do. And they don't realize that these aren't just some sides to a personality. These are more like diagnoses than they are personality traits. And so I just want to encourage you that if you're in any kind of setting where this kind of conversation comes up, where, your people are talking about, I don't know, the Ravi Zacharias thing, or any kind of abuse situation, or any kind of these sex scandals, or any of that kind of stuff, I really encourage you to first educate yourself on narcissism, on sociopaths, on psychopaths, on predators, so that when those conversations come up, you can be that person who speaks into it. Then you can be that person who brings light to other people, to tell them and show them and explain to them, no, this isn't just a personality quirk. This isn't just a slip up. This isn't just, sin like anybody else sins. This is something pathological. This is something in that person that needs to be rooted out. And those sorts of people, someone could say, well, should they be allowed to, shouldn't they stay within the church setting? And shouldn't they, that's a difficult topic. Because if there's somebody that's causing harm within a church community, and they shouldn't be there. They should be removed, and they should get help at the very least. And if there's anything that requires police intervention, then that's what needs to happen. But they should not be allowed to stay because Christians are too wishy-washy to want to stand up to this kind of stuff, because it's happening, and it's happening more than any of us would like to even imagine. So just being exposed to these kinds of stories can also be very triggering if you've been through it. And so I just, again, want to encourage you, if you don't know about these things already, please, watch some more of my videos, or, there's loads and loads of videos out there. Just know what to look for. Do not disregard your gut. Don't disregard your instincts about people, no matter what anybody else says. If you have a bad vibe about somebody, then trust that. And if you can't get somebody to listen to you about how you feel about something, and that you're picking up on something maybe no one else is, then you might want to reconsider how much you're going to be involved in that community. And you might want to reconsider your own involvement in whatever situations, so that you're not exposing yourself to something toxic or something possibly even dangerous. And if there is anybody in your community or in your church setting that will listen to you, talk to that person. And maybe maybe if there's more people that see something or notice it, you can have more of a stronger voice with, more than one person. But do not ignore your instincts ever, because God gave them to us for a reason, and God gave them to us in order for us to, be able to deal with exactly these kinds of things. Be wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. do not ignore your gut instinct ever. So anyways, I just wanted to share a bit about this. I would love to hear your comments, and I would love to hear if there's anything that you're dealing with or have dealt with. Of course, we don't need to make it public, but feel free to contact me. This stuff just needs to keep being exposed, because personally, I've had it. I've just had it, and I've especially had it when it's happening within the church. There's just zero tolerance for it. So yeah, I'm sounding a bit upset because this stuff just really gets under my skin. But anyways, thanks for listening, and stay strong, and know that God is with you and that you are worthy of love and respect, because God made you that way. God made you worthy of love and respect. Lots of love, ladies. Bye-bye.